The rhythmic click of the front door latch served as my nightly lullaby, a haunting melody tinged with betrayal that echoed the quiet of our home. Each time I heard it, a chill ran down my spine, signaling not just a return, but the unraveling of everything I once held dear. As I lay there in bed, my back turned to the entrance, my fists clenched beneath the covers, I could sense the faint aroma of an unfamiliar cologne wafting into the room. It was a heady mix of sandalwood and a citrusy note that felt like a taunt, a tangible reminder of her infidelity. I listened intently, straining my ears as she tiptoed across the hardwood floor, her steps deliberate yet betraying a nervous edge. The subtle creak of the floorboards beneath her feet was a painful reminder of every cherished memory now tainted by her deceit. The signs had been there, creeping into our lives like a shadow. It started subtly enough, a gradual change in her demeanor that I initially brushed off as the stress of her demanding marketing job. There was less eye contact, more time spent absorbed in her phone, and a vague distraction that clung to her like the cheap perfume she had begun to wear. I wanted to trust her, to believe that our life together was as solid as it once seemed, but a gnawing unease settled in my stomach, like a weight I couldn't lift. I started noticing the late nights, the flimsy excuses for missing dinners, and the hushed whispers behind closed doors when she thought I was out of earshot. Each instance fed my growing suspicion, darkening the corners of my mind. Tonight felt like the culmination of all those little betrayals. The ritual was the same. The soft click of her heels against the floor, the rustle of fabric as she slipped out of her dress, and the quiet sigh as she settled onto the bed beside me. I waited in the charged silence, my heart pounding against my ribs, until her breathing evened out, revealing that she had succumbed to a feigned slumber. The stillness around us felt suffocating, and when I whispered, "How was his place?" my voice emerged as a raspy echo in the darkness. The silence that followed hung heavily in the air, thick with tension and unspoken truths. Her sharp intake of breath cut through the silence, and I could sense her freeze beside me. Slowly, she turned her face toward me, illuminated by the faint glow of the streetlight filtering through the blinds. Her expression was drained of color, an unsettling mixture of fear and guilt written across her features. When our eyes met, I felt the name David strike me like a punch to the gut. David, her colleague, the one she'd been working late with, the one whose presence had become a shadow over our marriage. In that instant, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, forming a disturbingly clear picture of betrayal. "Don't," I replied, my tone flat and devoid of emotion. I felt nothing, no anger, no hurt, no pleading, just a profound emptiness. Her reaction was immediate. Tears flowed swiftly from her eyes, accompanied by a torrent of apologies and justifications that spilled from her lips like a desperate plea for absolution. It was a familiar script, one I had rehearsed countless times in my mind, preparing for this very moment. I remained unmoved, allowing her words to wash over me, each one further confirming the shattered reality I now faced. I didn't yell or rage. The betrayal ran too deep for that. Instead, a cold, calculating resolve settled within me. I would make them pay. The next morning, I acted as if nothing had occurred. I prepared breakfast with an unsettling calm, kissed her goodbye, and went to work with a mask of normalcy firmly in place. But while she attended her meetings, I was busy executing my plan. I contacted a private investigator, a mutual acquaintance who was discreet and efficient, and laid out my suspicions. In just a week, he delivered a trove of evidence, photos, videos, dates, times, and locations that painted an undeniable picture of their affair. It was more than I had asked for, more than I needed, but it fueled the fire of vengeance that burned within me. My target wasn't just Clara, my wife. It was David, too. He had known of my existence, had seen our pictures on her desk, the wedding band on her finger, and had chosen to ignore it all in favor of pursuing her. He deserved everything coming to him. David was a rising star in his company, a slick, ambitious executive with a carefully crafted image. I knew that image was his Achilles heel, and I began to meticulously compile the evidence, every photograph, every video, every incriminating text message, and sent an anonymous package to his CEO, his wife, his parents, and even his church. I spared no one in my pursuit of justice. Within days, David's world crumbled. He was fired from his job, His wife filed for divorce, and his reputation was irreparably tarnished. He had become a pariah, ostracized by colleagues and shunned by his community. His carefully constructed facade collapsed around him, leaving him exposed to face the consequences of his actions. The news of David's downfall spread like wildfire through Clara's office. Whispers followed her down the hall. Colleagues avoided her gaze, and the admiration she once received turned into pity and disdain. She became an office joke, a cautionary tale of betrayal that served as a grim reminder of the consequences of infidelity. When I confronted her with the evidence, it was not in anger but with a chilling calm that felt foreign to me. She confessed everything, her voice trembling as she begged for forgiveness, promising to change. But the damage was done. The trust that formed the foundation of our relationship had been irrevocably shattered. I filed for divorce, and within months, our marriage was officially over. My revenge wasn't about inflicting pain. It was about reclaiming my power and restoring the balance that had been so brutally disrupted. It was about ensuring that they both understood the devastating consequences of their choices. The aftermath was not easy. Sleepless nights plagued me. Moments of crippling doubt loomed large, and the lingering ache of what could have been gnawed at my heart. But amidst the pain, a strange sense of peace began to emerge. I had faced the darkest chapter of my life and had emerged stronger, wiser, and with a newfound appreciation for honesty and integrity. I sold the house, severing all ties to the life we had built together. I started anew, focusing on my career, nurturing my friendships, and rediscover myself outside the confines of a broken marriage. The scars remained, constant reminders of betrayal, but they no longer defined me. Instead, they became a testament to my resilience, a symbol of the strength I never knew I possessed. Months later, I spotted Clara at a coffee shop, an unexpected encounter that sent a ripple through my thoughts. She looked haggard, worn down, a shadow of her former self. Our eyes met briefly, and in that fleeting moment, I perceived a flicker of shame and regret in her gaze, a silent acknowledgement of the weight of her choices. I nodded curtly, a brief and emotionless gesture that served as recognition of our shared past. Then, I turned away, feeling neither anger nor pity. I felt nothing at all. The fire that once burned within me had long since extinguished, leaving only embers of indifference. I had moved on. I had survived. In the end, that was the most satisfying revenge of all.